possibly go wrong is what we always ask, but we're always faced with the difficult burden of knowing that in our public school system that sometimes safety is only found in the home. Tonight I want to introduce to some and present to others. That is Jaidyn Case, and we're going to be talking about the situation that she faced in her school where she was so bullied that she actually was stabbed, and the school began to blame this woman, Marvina Case, Texans United for America. So without further ado, with great joy and profound honor, I want to introduce to some and present to others Miss Marvina Case on behalf of her beautiful, lovely daughter. Good evening. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm here. How are you? I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you very very well, and I am so glad that you're with us tonight. Um, Marvina, let me ask you something. Your neighborhood, your community, it must be one of those slum communities like Milwaukee or Philly or DC or Baltimore. It must be one of those places where the schools are run down, there are no air conditions, the people are hostile. Uh, it's got to be like that. Am I correct?
No, actually, I live in a very upscale community where the cheaper homes run about 1.4 million, and I'd say the average is around 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number one school district in the state of Texas, supposedly.
Number one, number
Yes,
one school district. Now, you are a very beautiful woman, and you
thank
have
you.
a very beautiful daughter,
Thank
Jaidyn
you.
Case. Now, if you could describe for me what was Jaden Case like before all of uh, the hullabaloo that goes on at that particular school.
My daughter was a better version of me, articulate, proud, strong, educated, able to stand her ground, and would do anything to protect anyone, especially those that are less fortunate. She's known as the ringleader when something goes wrong because she's going to handle it.
Yes.
That's just who she was. She's not going to let anyone be hurt or bullied or be picked on simply because they're different.
Now, if you could describe for me the day in which this all began, when Jaden Case goes to school, had she been bullied before? Was she a target of the classroom?
I won't say that this was bullying. I will say that this was a act of violence by an unstable young man.
Ah,
Um, I will put it like this simply because my daughter does not get bullied. She does know mixed martial arts. Her father has taught her very well. When someone did try to bully her 3 years ago, she choked him out. So it's not an issue of her being meek or unable to take care of herself. In my
exactly.
family, we are strong willed, strong mind, and strong body. This is an issue of a child having a handicap to him, whether it be emotional or severely mental. I don't know. I've not met this boy, but I know that he is classified as special needs, but that's a catch all phrase these days. So I'm not quite sure what his issues are.
Okay, so
But
you've never seen him in the classroom before, never seen him interact with Jaden or any of her friends or anything of that nature.
no, I have not seen him. We've only been in this district for 3 weeks.
Only
So
three
we had no,
weeks.
only 3 weeks. We just recently moved here. And I moved here because I'd done all the research. I always check school incident reports and issues with the schools, and it was an ideal school on paper.
Exactly. So you 3 weeks in, you're moving to the number one school district in the state of Texas, and some of us like to say the Republic of Texas. And my God, she gets stabbed by someone who is considered special needs. Now, let me not interrupt you. If you could describe for me her thoughts, her behavior before she set forth on going to school that particular day.
Just like any other child, she was excited to go to school. She had a math test. Math is one of her favorite
Mm-hmm.
subjects. They were going to do a wonderful science experiment. She's really into STEM. So she was excited. She says, Mommy, I love my school. I love my friends. I'm fitting in really well. Sophia even likes it. And my youngest is more of an introvert. So that's a big deal. I was so happy with the school that I even bought all of the instructors there cookies
Wait a
three
minute.
times.
Wait a minute. You're there 3 weeks, and you are seen as one of those parents who's just a great parent in the classroom. You work with the teachers. You probably looked after some of the kids as well. Am I right in that regard? Or
I hadn't had a chance to actually
yeah.
volunteer in the class yet, but what I did do was I bought each teacher a gift card to Office Max, bought
Hmm.
extra supplies for the students who were unfortunate, as well as brought in sweets for the entire staff.
Exactly. So you were looking out for the well-being of the classroom, notably, because you don't just give a teacher something and the principal doesn't find out. Am I correct in that regard? Uh,
That's correct.
yeah. So you were looked upon quite highly by those just in the 3 weeks that you were there as a parent.
Received several thank you notes.
Wow.
They were very happy. I had no issues with anyone. When this first issue occurred, where I was told the little boy accidentally hit her in the back of the head with a ball,
Hmm.
and I said, please notate on her record she's had brain surgery and had brain trauma last year. If she's
Yes.
ever hit in the head, please call me immediately so because I know what signs to look for and I
Hmm.
want to come get her. Didn't happen that time. I said, okay. She was hit in the back of the head with a ball. It's not that serious. I did speak with her and verify she was safe and there was no issues with her eyes or any problems at all when she got home.
Hmm.
This second time, I didn't receive a phone call until after she was on the bus home. And the nurse called me and said, I don't want you to freak out when you see your daughter.
Okay. Wait. Well, the school called you for a ball being thrown against the back of her head. Am I correct in
No,
that?
they never called me for that. No.
So, so they didn't vow for the request that you had made. Um, did you
No,
did you broach that with them on the first time that they missed that
I
call?
this wasn't the first time. This was the first time with that student with the ball. Previously, she was hit by another special needs child who kicked her in the leg and hit her in the front of the head. He also attacked two other students, and it was just random. So that was the first time I went into the school, and
Yeah.
I went in politely and I said, "Hey, I realize school is just starting, and perhaps you haven't had a chance to, but she has had brain surgery and a brain trauma. Anytime she's hit or anything like this happens, please let me know immediately.
Yeah.
Here's my business card. Please call me, text me." They said, "Okay, is there anything special we need to do?" I said, "No, you just need to call me immediately. I will come to the school and I
Hmm.
will take care of it." And that didn't occur. So the second time I came in and I reminded them that you need to call me when anything happens. Still didn't happen. The third time I did receive a call, but not from one of the administrators, the principal or the vice principal. It was the nurse calling me to let me know, please don't freak out. I didn't want you to freak out when you see your daughter, is what she said. And I said, why would I freak out when I see my daughter? Well, she was scratched. And I'm thinking, a scratch? Where was she scratched at? She was scratched on the face. And I said, well, is she okay? Is it serious? Oh, no, she's on the bus. And I'm like, okay, she was scratched, so maybe they don't consider that a hit or anything.
Yeah.
But why is she saying, please don't freak out if it's not
Yeah. Just a
serious? Because
scratch.
obviously, a
Yeah.
scratch, because children play and get scratches all the time. So I'm nervous. So I call our maid and I say, Jaidyn's going to be getting off the bus. I know you're supposed to get off now, but can you stay a couple more minutes and just make sure she's okay? They said she was scratched on the face, and I just want to make sure that it's properly cleansed, and that she's fine. And she said,
Yeah.
sure. So she stays, and she calls me back when Jaidyn arrived. She goes, it's a bit more than a scratch, and I could hear it in the tone of her voice that something was wrong. But being an hour and 20 minutes away, she did not want to alarm me. She said, "It's more than a scratch. She's still bleeding. I'm going to clean it up." And she says, "You might want to look at her mouth as well."
Okay, wait a minute.
So,
It moved from a scratch to now you got to look at the mouth. Now,
yes.
now I don't know about medical science. I'm not a doctor. I just play one whenever I'm sick. But if someone if someone calls you and tells you, "I don't want you to freak out," isn't it natural, especially if it's a nurse that tells you this, that you're freaking out?
Yes, it is. I called my husband immediately and I said, "I'm going into a meeting with the CEO. Can you please call the school and find out what's going on?"
Hmm.
And he said yes. The
And so,
nurse
how
did
did they
promise
treat
that.
your husband? Were they genteel? Were they offering of news and willing to sit down with you?
My understanding was they mentioned a possible stay away plan with the other student, and that there was a little incident in gym class where he got upset and he accidentally poked her and scratched her in the face with the pencil.
He poked her
And
and scratched her in the face with a pencil.
yes,
That,
so
that
at this
that's
point,
yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? You don't accidentally poke someone, or whether you taking a test in gym? I mean, I've been out of school for a while, but I don't recall carrying a pencil into gym class.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so my husband's like, I don't know. She said she would get back to me. Well, I said I have to go. I'm leaving now. I left my office and I drove home. Unfortunately, it was an accident, so it took an hour and 20 minutes. All the while calling the school, nobody will pick up the phone.
Uh-huh.
So I call my daughter at home, and she goes, "I'm okay, mom. It just hurts a little. My mouth is sore." And "How's your mouth sore from a scratch?"
Exactly.
"Well, mom, it wasn't a scratch. He knocked me into a rock climbing wall, punched me in the mouth, and stabbed me with a pencil."
That's not a scratch. That's
So
not
at
a
this
scratch.
point, I'm
Yeah.
I- I'm livid. I'm
Yeah.
livid. I had to pull over and calm down because I was infuriated and traffic was too bad. And I talked to my daughter. She goes, "I'm really okay. It just hurts." And I said, "No, you're not really okay. People don't get stabbed in the face and aren't really okay. I understand you're trying to keep me calm, but do I need to have someone come over there right now?" She goes, "No, no. Miss Perla cleaned it up. I'm going to be fine." So I drive home, continuously calling the school. Nobody picks up. I get a voicemail. I leave a voicemail. No response. The nurse had said earlier that an administrator would call. I was in the car for approximately an hour and 20 minutes to get home. No call. So I get home. I immediately record what happened to my daughter, because what they're telling me and what actually happened are two totally different things.
Yes.
And I had to remember reading only one alarming thing about the school, which happened, in 2005, about a little girl possibly being sexually assaulted and no incident reports. So that's in the back of my mind, that maybe
Wow.
they just don't make incident reports. So I'm going to document this before she forgets anything, so it's fresh and there's nothing to be questioned as far as what happened. So I did that. And when she finishes telling me completely what happened, and that the little boy said, "I don't care that I hurt you," and that there was no instructor around. And I'm concerned at this point because the story that I'm getting, what I'm seeing, they don't line up. So I
Exactly.
call the police, because that is not a scratch. That is a full on assault.
Yes.
She has
Yes, it
been
is.
attacked. She's been assaulted. You don't accidentally punch somebody in the mouth. You don't accidentally knock someone into a rock wall. And you sure as hell don't accidentally stab somebody with a pencil in a class that you shouldn't have a pencil in.
Now, there were no teachers, no one saw this or witnessed this.
They were dealing with another special needs child who hurt themselves in a different area of the gym. It's a rather large gym. And
Mm.
that's that's where things were. When she hit the wall, the rest of the class noticed what happened and turned around. And apparently, the gym teacher aide came to her at that point. But I would like to say this, that when I went in and spoke with the principal, it was the aide was 3 feet away and saw everything. Now,
Oh, jeez. The aide is 3 feet away. That's a lie.
now,
That's a
if
lie
I'm
from the
three
pit of
feet
hell.
away, of
Yeah.
course, it's a lie. Because if I'm 3 feet away and I see someone pushed into a wall, and I know I'm dealing with a special needs child who has already body slammed another student,
Yeah.
has already hit this one in the back of the head, and has a history of growling at other students, I'm going to react differently than I would if it was another child based on the information I have and the past experience. So if she's 3 feet away, she should have been able to, one, stop the punch,
Yeah.
two, prevent any scratch whatsoever. But that didn't happen.
No, we're talking with Marvina Case this particular evening. Her beautiful young daughter, who has suffered brain injuries and had surgery accordingly, uh, is, well, attacked, physically attacked in the gym, unwatched, unsupervised, and they're sling around this term special needs. Now, I want to broach that in just a few minutes, but I want to find out the health and condition of Jaidyn. What happened when she met with the doctor, and what was the prognostication or diagnosis of her health?
They're going to try to save her tooth, her permanent adult tooth. She just went to the dentist the 4 or 5 days before, and they did dental records, and there was no damage to her tooth. Took her in Saturday morning because she couldn't even handle eating a sloppy Joe that night because her mouth was so sore.
Yeah,
And she said it was too spicy. It's a sloppy Joe. This is a child who ate the hottest hot sauce in Georgetown, Texas, and the youngest child to be able to do it. Grown men have passed out from eating this hot sauce, and she's able to do this, but she's not able to eat a sloppy Joe.
yeah,
So obviously, there's an issue with her mouth. So I attempted to take her to urgent care, and urgent care said, "What happened?" I explained. They said, "Oh, we can't see her because that's an assault." So they
mm-hmm.
wouldn't see her at the urgent care. So I said, "I'll take her to the dentist in the morning." Took her to the dentist. The dentist said, "Oh my gosh, what happened to your face?" And she explained what happened, and they said, "Well, we need to do some dental x-rays because it was visibly swollen." Um,
Yes,
so she does, and she goes, "There's some damage to the tooth, the root part of the tooth. She may actually end up losing this tooth, or at a minimum need a root canal, and that may prolong her keeping the tooth. We're going to check weekly to see if there's any discoloration or any infection." She can't eat in the front of her mouth. She has to eat the back of her mouth because she can't eat anything hard.
yeah, yeah. Marvina Case
And
is
the
with us
dentist
tonight.
said there's no way.
Yeah, Marvina Case is with us tonight. You uh, have received the diagnosis of her condition. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk with Marvina Case about what happens the day after, and you will not believe what she's gone through in this particular process. Marvina, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Hang in there. I'm going to bring you over for the second segment. America needs to hear exactly what's happening in the best school in Texas. You're watching, ladies and gentlemen, the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We will return right after these messages.
Hi guys, so I am back with another haul. You guys know I collaborate with Shein every month. They are one of my favorite companies